Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, C to T. You can refer to me as Miss T. I gotta get used to talking again. But anywho, I'm back. I know I've been gone a long time. But first thing we do is water check. I'm back at home. I'm back in my routine. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta get back on the good foot with the water check. I am drinking water, I always do, but it's not like how I was doing before I left. So you know how it is when you go on vacation or you go somewhere and you get out your normal hustle and bustle. And so I need to get back to it. But here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we advocate that the average person drinks about 100 ounces of water a day. And that's like shortchanging, really. Because any adult, at least anybody from 16 and up, can and should drink at least a gallon a day, which is 128 ounces. But we say to be on the safe side, go and just try your luck at the 100 ounces. You'll definitely see some improvement all the way across the board. Then we know that there's a formula for water, half your body weight in ounces of water. But a lot of people don't like to drink water like that. So we said at least try to get up to 100 ounces a day. Like I said, you'll see improvement. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. If your goal is just to eat healthy, your goal is to get healthy or lose weight or whatever it is, none of that stuff can happen without the proper amount of water. And it doesn't matter if you're fasting or anything, you can always drink water. So drink up. And nobody in the year 2023 going forward should ever have a problem with that dehydration. You know, we say if you're not a big water drinker, 2 times a day that you should drink water. At least you could do that. That's first thing in the morning before the toes hit the ground, before you get off into your morning routine. Have you 8 ounces on the nightstand. Drink it up. Learn how to drink water room temperature. I personally like it cold. We also advocate that, put a mini fridge in your room. It's not going to shock in all your electric bill. Your electric bill ain't going to change much. You're going to find that shocking. But put you a little miniature fridge. It could be like a cube. It could be waist high. That's the one I have. And keep your refreshments cold. Your family will love it. My family do. They love not having to trek down to the kitchen because, a lot of stuff can happen on that trek. You can open that fridge and start pulling out leftovers. You can get down there and whip up something real quick and then deviate from what you went down there in the first place to do, which is just to get some libation, get some water. Water is a life sustainer. So you must train your body to try to drink it. Like I said, if you're not going to do it and you just got to have your coffee, your tea, your liquor, whatever it is that you like to drink, 2 times out the day, you can incorporate water into your regular routine. And that's first thing in the morning. Think of your body as an engine, and the water is the lube that's needed to get it running and running correctly in a timely manner and efficient. The second time is at night before you go to bed. Now we talking getting out the shower, getting out the tub, throw your PJs on, you're looking at a program. You might be reading a magazine, reading a passage in a book, whatever it is you do right before you go to bed. We're not talking, get out the shower, lay down, and instantly go to sleep and, drink water instantly before you go to sleep. We talking, most people after their shower at night, they go to sleep maybe an hour after the fact or 30 minutes to an hour after the fact. So we saying in that time frame, drink your water. It's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of good things going on at night when you do finally fall into a deep sleep. A lot of reads going on. Rebooting, recharging, revamping, recalibrating. I can go on and on and on. But suffice to say, you need water for all those re's. Recreating. New cells are being developed every day. And so that's why you need your water. And like I said, think of your body as an engine and your water's the lube or the fuel it needs, you know what I'm saying, to work in a timely and efficient manner. Fun things like you burn the most calories in a deep sleep, not a nap, not like you caught a cat nap or something like real quick. I shut my eyes for a minute. In a deep sleep where you go through all of the phases of sleep, which sleep is also important every day. Yeah, you'll burn like 900 to 1,000 calories. You're not even getting that when you go to the gym and working out. So the water is going to help all that. Have it on the nightstand as usual, ready for you when you come out that shower. And gulp it down. Drink a cup of water. We're talking 8 ounces. Get back on your water. Like I said, when you break your routine, sometimes you break the water routine. I did. I just did it. I've been gone for a month. And so, trying to get back on that routine. I consistently drank water while I was gone, but it wasn't like routinely done like I normally do when I'm here and able to, do my routine without interference or anything. So now I just got to get back on the horse. And after all, tomorrow is another day. Always tell yourself that. If you don't do it that day, you always got tomorrow. You can always get back on the horse. But now we got that out the way. Let's do a little housekeeping. Please, please, please. In my humblest voice ever, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, no need to subscribe. We got you locked in. But do hit that like and share button. Leave a comment, especially if you're watching me on replay. You can leave a comment, a statement, or a question. And I always do get back to you. You guys who've done it know that I get back to you. We just say try to be respectful. Most definitely, I will be respectful. You can ask me anything or tell me anything. Another way to get in contact with me is at boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. That's boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. I do get back to you pretty quickly if you email me that. Like I said, leave a comment, statement, question, what have you. And if you're talking about health things, if you're saying something different, then that might motivate me to do a show on Sunday. I do slate that time every Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. to talk about health things because I like to share what I've learned or what I know, because a lot of things that I've ran across and had hard times with is because I didn't know. And we shouldn't be going forward in this world saying we didn't know this and we didn't know that. So that's why I do it. Y'all see that pretty little sign on the side of my screen? The dollar sign, it said Boxing Fans Talk TV. That's my Cash App. I don't really know what's going on with the monetization, but YouTube is shysting me. They I was right at the requirements and they took them back, and I don't know why. And they've been doing this for as long as I've been on. Like, I don't know how many times they got to take me back down to 2000 or something like that. I don't know, but I ain't gonna worry about it. I've tried to reach out to them. If anybody got any answers as to why they do stuff like that, let me know, because the sister trying to figure that shit out. But other than that, I come on Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If I have something to say. Now, if a sister don't have nothing to say, I'm not going to sit up here and do fluff through a whole program. It's if I have something to say and if I'm here. And shoot, the way my internet and cable work, shit, if they work in the day, if they feel like they want to work that day, then I'll have a show. But other than that, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, y'all see the title. bump you, and bump you. Who's next? But before we get into that, y'all know the drill. Let me go ahead and play my intro. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the music. This seems like it's a short in YouTube or something. It's not my speakers, but it keep coming in and out, and that becomes irritating. Because even when I try to play my music over here, it does that. So I don't really know what's going on. But like I said, I've been gone a month trying to get back to the swing of things. But anywho, bump you, and bump you. Who's next? I'm willing to bet that's how Tank Davis feel. We all saw his fight this past weekend. A lot of stuff has changed for this young man's life. I'm a person who believe in not putting the cart before the horse. And I know Team Ellaby and Mayweather and all them, they like to do it. I know the fighters hear what they hear, and sometimes they can go with it, or sometimes they're humble enough not to buy into certain things. Now, I had a problem with the word legend, and I explained that, and I'll talk about that later. But it's a lot of good things that have happened for Tank Davis on his career since this past weekend fighting Ryan Garcia. It was a good fight to have. It was going to be that magnetic, like a lot of people wanted to see it. Between both of them, they attracted a lot of casuals, and that's what you want in a fighter. You want your fighters to be able to attract casuals. What's up, ATL? Unanimous. He said, Queen T, salute. So I was thinking, I had predicted that his fight would do 1 million buys. I said that too. You know how I felt that way? Why I felt that way? I ain't gonna say, how I knew, but you know why I felt that way? Because the cable crashed when you was trying to order the fight, and it never came back up. It crashed. So when it does that, Floyd's did that with Conor McGregor, and Floyd held off on the fight from coming out. He made everybody wait until they could get it back online, but that's Floyd. They didn't do that. They didn't get that courtesy in regards to Gervonta Davis. But his stuff did crash. But the whole world wants to know where he go next. Is it Shakur Stevenson, who has not, as of yet, fought a fight in the 135-pound division? He ain't had his first fight yet. We know he moved up there, but he hasn't had his first fight. Will he fight Devin Haney, the undisputed champion of the division? I would like to see that fight. I don't want that fight to marinate. That's something I got to see. Like, I have to see it yesterday. I really want to see it. Ever since Tank said, you and your daddy need to get off my dick, I was like, most definitely. Because Bill Haney be out there talking a lot of stuff. They back their stuff up. As far as the son is undefeated, the son is an undisputed champion and everything. But Bill, you talk a lot of stuff. I guess that's what you're supposed to do. But sometimes it comes off like Bill Haney be agitating folks. Like he be doing it on purpose. But maybe that's the fight game. Maybe Miss T don't know that part. So then you got Isaac Cruz, the one fighter that gave him some competition. In my book, you got a lot of people that say, "Hey, Jerry, I've been working on the phone thing." Matter of fact, Jerry, let me see if it worked. It seemed like it worked earlier. Let me see. This for Jerry. I knew Jerry will. Oh, damn it. Will want to come through. Let me see. I don't know, Jerry. That one's a dud. Hold up. It might work, Jerry. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. So just hold tight, Jerry. I'm setting it up. I'll let you know. But I'm gonna do my little monologue, and then we're gonna try to open it up. Jerry's in the house. He said, pretty sure Stevenson last fight was at 135 against an undefeated top 10 opponent. Did he fight that guy? I could be late, Jerry. I've been gone. I know he was due to fight somebody. I can't remember. I'm thinking that the fight hasn't happened yet. But if he already fought him, then that's his one fight. But he still got to get in line. So who's next for Tank? Could it be Isaac Cruz? As I said, the one fighter, in my opinion, that gave him some competition. A lot of times, I think the problem that Tank run into with a lot of fans is that fans are getting tired of when we see a person about to fight, we already know that person won the fight. Like, how many times you want to see a fight like that? What made this fight explosive and magnetic and people buying it, not only the popularity of each individual, Ryan and Tank, but as much as I knew Tank was going to win, that was that one possibility. Because I can't say Ryan can't hit hard. I can't say Ryan isn't fast, and speed kills. And I can't say Ryan wouldn't throw his hands more than Tank. We just didn't know. And when you can say, I don't know, I just don't know, that makes for an exciting fight. But if every time a person step up to bat and them motherfuckers, we already know they're going to win, I'm not even pressed for the motherfucking fight after that. Jerry said, yeah, was a week or two ago, Shakur stopped him 6-7 rounds. Okay, Jerry, my bad. Good to know. Or will Tank try to fight Loma? Because everybody thinking that Devin is definitely going to beat Lomachenko, but we don't know. I seen a little dust on Lomachenko in his first fight back, coming out the war, seeing like some things change. That could have been a fluke. What's going to make that fight interesting is because we don't know. If Loma get in there and beat Devin, I'm sure Tank ain't even pressed for Devin. If Devin lose the motherfucking belts, I don't think nobody's pressed for Devin. A lot of people, say that Devin is a boring fighter. I don't say that. He's a very technical fighter. I don't feel that way about Guillermo Rigondeaux. I didn't feel that way about Mayweather, and I'm not gonna feel that way about him. Somebody could say that about Tank. There was no whip bam, thank you, ma'ams going on in that fight with him and Ryan. Somebody could say Tank is fell in love with his power. Like they used to say that about Deontay Wilder, like that was a bad thing. It's possible. But when he fought Cruz, now that was exciting. I mean, some people who are fans of Leo Santa Cruz. I'm talking about Isaac Cruz. But both Leo and Isaac fought Tank back. Made Tank come out his comfort zone a little bit because he was getting hit. Decisions. But if Loma beat Haney, ain't nobody going to be checking for Haney. Out of pure fairness, Shakur cannot be the next one. He must get in line and fight a couple of fighters in the division before given the opportunity. That's just out of pure fairness. That's just what I say. And I'm just one person. I don't get to make decisions, but just out of fairness. You want the opportunity for all the men to be fair across the board. Otherwise, it just to me, it overall hurts the sport. There has to be some kind of decorum and something that makes sense. You know, get in line, get your turn. Otherwise, it's chaotic. And who the fuck want to watch a sport that's chaotic? All the other sports make sense. They have a routine. They have a protocol. They got a timeline that they adhere to. And boxing going to be chaotic. We know that they can't have timelines like the NBA and hockey and soccer and stuff like that. However, we can have mundane routine, experiences in boxing when it comes to who boxes next, who gets the opportunity. It got to be something that a person can shoot for. Otherwise, how do you ascribe to be great or anything in boxing? Y'all know I'm about fairness. So, Shakur, you're going to have to get a couple of fights to be fair before they throw the opportunities at your way. And that goes for Shakur fighting Haney, too. You got to be fair. Devin Haney, that's fair game, though. Because they both been in the 135 division for a while. So if Tank has to fight Devin Haney, that's fair game. Do we want to see that fight? I do. I think Tank will demolish Haney. Me personally. I think he will win easily. Now, speaking of Shakur, Shakur is calling out Tank, saying he is ready and it's up to Tank. Why he said it, he's claiming that Tank is now on Mayweather's level. He kind of humbling himself when he talking about Tank. He can fight who he wants. They claim Tank won't speak their names. I really don't or can't blame Tank for not calling Shakur's name or Haney if he don't want it, because they agitate him. They get on his nerves. And we've seen that, especially with Bill. He gets on Tank nerves. He gets on Shakur nerves. But Tank probably feel like he don't want to say that name to get him shine off of his name. I don't blame him. But out of all of them, Tank has the equalizer more than any of them. And that's why I say it's interesting. That's why I say he can't be a legend. He can't be that, but he definitely have an equalizer. The days of Tank coming into a fight, y'all remember? Tank coming to the fight kind of half-cocked. What I mean by half-cocked, maybe he made weight. Maybe, he got tired or something. I don't know. But the days of him coming in no way conditioned, like, maybe Tank has always been conditioned, but not to the level that he should be. And that's a problem, or a potential problem you can have with somebody who fall in love with their power. Because all they're going to do, maybe they're halfway do their miles. I got power. I'm going to knock him out in the first or second round. It ain't going to go past 6 rounds. So I'm going to train for 6 rounds. Shit like that can happen. You don't want to get that mindset. But now Isaac Cruz is another thing altogether. As I told y'all, Isaac Cruz gave him competition. Isaac Cruz is the closest thing to Tank having a fight with Tank. If y'all get what I mean. Isaac Cruz is short, Tank is short. Isaac Cruz can hit hard, Tank can hit hard. Isaac Cruz try to walk you down and just demolish you. So do Tank. I feel like Tank is a better boxer. But had Isaac had a full training camp, we to this day wouldn't know how that would have turned out. It was close, and Isaac only had like 2 weeks notice, and the fight was that close. So imagine if Isaac had a full 8-week training camp to fight Tank Davis. But Tank let y'all know right after his fight, and emphatically let you know. He also let you know at the post press conference, nah, it could be no rematch. Tank don't want it. As I say, Isaac calls out Devin Haney all the time. Devin Haney won't speak his name. I've been watching. I've been peeping the game. He won't even speak his name. Now, Shakur, on the other hand, wanted to fight with Isaac, and Isaac and them turned it down, which made Isaac and them look like a duck, straight up. And then Isaac came back later and said, okay. But a lot of people here lately been turning down fights with Shakur, and I think it got something more to do with than just boxing. I'm not getting into all that, but I think it, people just looking out for their best interests. So I don't know if it was because of that, but you was asked, Isaac Cruz, and you said no. You still one of my favorite fighters. So Tank had, to me, in the end, has to be strategic. The fight with Devin is an easy one. Is a gimme. As far as when I say easy, like fair to make, understandable to the fans. Both of them have been in 135 for a minute. Devin is undisputed. Tank says he's legendary. Well, Tank, this is the way you get legendary. I don't care what any of these boxers say today. 30 years from now, nobody's going to remember you because you had the highest pay-per-view. You, as you can see, records are made to be broke. You don't know any fighter that just because they got paid a lot that people remember them for that. Mike Tyson used to get $30 and something million a fight for a fight that don't hardly ever go out the first round. Nobody remembers that about him. That's not what they lead with. They talk about how he could punch, how he had that 2 side punch and uppercut. They talk about his progress in the ring. They don't ever really talk about what he made. So any fighter that's still stuck on that, that's you. That's one of my biggest reasons why I can't say Tank, is a legend. I can't say it, not with a straight face. And one thing I was looking at too, Tank record is now 29-0 with 27 knockouts. He got a better resume than Earl Spence. Y'all know I had to do it. He got a better resume. But, I already explained, like I said, a Tank is not a legend. But is he the face of boxing? Or is he a pay-per-view star? Or is he a cash cow? Now, out of all of these titles that this man supposedly had picked up this weekend, which one of them can we legitimately give him? I could definitely call him a cash cow. We can call him a cash cow now. And cash cows pretty much get what they want. They get their way. Look at Canelo. He was a cash cow. Everybody's gunning for you. You'll never be out of business. You'll never be shelved. That's what a cash cow privileges can be. So yes, Tank, you definitely a cash cow. If you have a repeat offense or become a repeat offender when it comes to pay-per-view numbers, you getting up in the millions or more, you will be a pay-per-view star. Right now, compared to your peers, you are. Compared to other people like Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, Charlos, you are more of a pay-per-view star than they are. You even saw that Charlo said he switched. He said, I'm now a Tank fan or something. I just turned it because I didn't even want to hear him say it. Because why? Because he sold out. Anybody who knows and was paying attention, this fight was going to be mega. They knew. Shout outs to Tank's team, LB, PBC, Mayweather, because they definitely started an echo chamber. Even Ryan's team and stuff, they definitely started an echo chamber. It is rumored that the Zone recorded close to 500,000 pay-per-view buys or somewhere like that. And Showtime supposedly had clocked 700 or so, or close to 800,000 pay-per-view buys. Now remember, Showtime don't put out numbers. So if you put out numbers, I'm going to feel a kind of certain way. Because you say you don't put out numbers. Now, if you did, you'll be a hypocrite. But the place that I got it from wasn't Showtime. Matter of fact, where can I get this? Hold up, y'all. So look at that. Miss T ain't pull it out her ass. It said over 1.2 million buys, according to Sports Business Journal. Right here. It was similar to the rematch that Canelo Alvarez had in 2018 with Gennady Golovkin or Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. This is what they compared it to. He made $22.8 million at the gate. So that meant his tickets were high price. And we know that he sold out the T-Mobile. So that's why I could say he's a cash cow. I can say that with a straight face. You said, what's the number? Wait a minute, Jerry. I got you. I'm almost done. If y'all want to say he the face of boxing, I ain't going to sit up there and argue somebody. I never agreed that Canelo was the face of boxing. But if I'm going to say with that one, to each his own, if they want to say they the face of boxing, because again, this is all echo chamber type stuff. It's to each his own. How you feel about that? That one I can't call. But one thing I can say emphatically, Tank Davis is not a legend. Not yet. Don't mean he ain't on his way. Don't mean he ain't close to it. But he's not. Jerry, the phone lines are open to me. Let me find that little banner that says, I think it's funny. No. That's not it. This right here. There it is right there, Jerry. So hopefully it works. I don't know if it will, but we'll see. But no, he's not a legend. The cash cow, he's well on his way to being a pay-per-view star. The reason why I said I'm hesitant with giving him that brand is because look what his last fights did. They didn't even break 100,000. It can be easily argued that he wouldn't have got the million without a certain type of dance partner. See, Floyd is going to break numbers whomever he dances with. That's when you call that person a pay-per-view star. Mostly all these other fighters, they have to have a specific dance partner. And that's how it usually is. So, let me see. Okay. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. There you have it. I got the link in there. ATF, if you want to jump in. Jared, the phone lines are open. I ain't going to be on too long, but I mean, I wanted to come through and speak on that. I'm going to move on to something else. Y'all know the Haney versus Loma fight is coming up. That's a pay-per-view event on ESPN Plus, and it will be available on your cable outlets. So if you got Dish or DirecTV or regular cable, you can get the fight that way as well. It's going to start at 8 p.m. I noticed that this weekend fights start at 8 p.m. I ain't mad at them. Yeah, because when you start at 9 and fights be over at 12:30 and 1, that's for the birds. So I do like to bump up an hour, 8 p.m. But Bob Arum had explained at their press conference that they only doing $60, like $59.99. So it's gonna be $60. So y'all gotta ask yourself, do you want to spend $60 to watch Haney versus Loma? Would you spend $60 to watch either one of them fight anybody? I don't know. I think they kind of messed this one up. I believe that this one should have been a free fall. I think it should have been on ESPN and get the interest in, because as far as I'm concerned, Loma is at the end of his career. He's aging out. Haney is always going to outbox whoever. The fact that he doesn't mention Isaac Cruz gives me pause. He do have an undercard. The opener is Nico Ali Walsh. What's good about this is that Nico is fighting his first 8-rounder. Y'all remember Nico was always fighting 4-rounders. And I'm like, enough with the slow walking. So now this is first 8-rounder. And I will say this, every time you saw Nico, he improved and he improved and he improved. So it'd be interesting to see that. Also, WBO junior bantamweight Andrew Maloney versus Junto Nakatani. Andrew Maloney, a Maloney dude, wasn't he on the Cambosos and Haney undercard too, as well? I mean, or was he on Tony Harris and oh boy, undercard? I think he was under Haney's undercard when Haney fought Cambosos. Either the second one or something. Okay, hold on, Jared. Can you hear me, Jared? Yeah, can you hear me? I can hear you, Jared. Can you hear me? Hello? Jerry. We hear you breathing and shit, dude. What you doing? All right, so look, y'all. I gotta figure out how to do this. It's ringing to my phone, and that's the problem. So I gotta go back in and figure it out, Jared. I hope you can hear me saying this. The phone is set up to come into my phone, and I gotta cancel that because I can hear you just as clear, but I guess you couldn't hear me, Jared. Let me answer it this way.
Call from Jerry. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hello?
Hello?
Jerry, I don't know if people can hear you through the what you call it. It's ringing to my phone for some reason. It's not ring. I can hear you, Jerry. You probably can hear me, but we can't hear you through the.
I can hear you this time.
But we can't hear you through the computer.
Oh no.
But yeah, I mean, I just hold you up to the mic. But I got after this, I'm gonna have to go in and fix it. What I think I'm gonna have to separate it from my phone. I don't know. It's attached to my phone some kind of way. I'll figure it out, Jerry. But what's good with you, Jerry?
How you doing? I ain't seen you on there for a while. Where you been at?
Yeah, I had to go on up back home and spend some time with my peeps. I've been gone for about a month.
Let's see.
Yeah. I was watching nature at its best. I watched these geese lay some eggs and do their little nest over there with my mom there, and every night they will be, sitting on their eggs. And the geese mate for life at the age of 2 to 3. They find their mates and they mate for life. And they mourn when one of them passed. Where the father, he was in the street, standing guard like any good father would. And I would be sitting on the street because you can't smoke on my mama's property. So I would get in my car and just come around the corner. And I would see people trying to hit the geese, like a couple of people. And I would honk my horn. And my mom told me today that somebody got him. Somebody got the dad. I'm so fucked up about. Yeah, I know. I'd have honked my horn.
I don't know why.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I don't know why people do that. I read it in a book about Gerald McClellan. Remember McClellan, the middleweight?
Yeah.
Fought Nigel Benn.
Yeah.
Yeah. After he had a fight, he made some money. He bought a Mercedes, and he was down in Florida. I think he was from Florida, and the story was told by a fellow fighter that was with him. He driving his Mercedes around this mall parking lot, and in the parking lot there was a whole bunch of those pink flamingos, and he was mowing them down with his car, just mowing them down.
Oh hell no!
And the guy asked him, man, why you doing that, man? And he didn't really have a good reason, from what I remember. He just, I don't know why the fuck people do stupid shit like that, man. Why are you gonna kill a goose? What's the point?
Exactly. Oh, you knew Jerry McCullough enough to ask him?
Say what?
You said you asked him yourself, or?
No, I read it.
Oh, you read it. Okay.
Yeah, I read it. It was a book about Gerald McClellan.
Yeah.
Shortly after his fight with Nigel Benn. And there was other fighters. There was other stories that really weren't too flattering about how he treated dogs and this and that, But I actually seen the guy that the fighter, I can't remember his name, might have been a guy, what the hell is his name? Frankie Lyles. I think it might have been Frankie Lyles that he was with that told the story, and I've seen Frankie tell it live too in an interview. So I mean, I wasn't there and know for sure that he did it, but it looked like he wasn't making that up. I mean, some people are just that way, and it's just fucked up, man. You just can't understand it. I'm the type of guy. I find a bug in the house unless it's a roach. If I ever see a roach, I'm killing that. But I take bugs outside and let them go, type shit.
I try not to kill bugs. I don't like it because it's squeamish to me. But I ain't trying to save no bugs. I do not even like rats or snakes, But as long as they stay over there in their lane, I'm good. But no, to mow down a geese, and all they was doing was laying their eggs and guarding their eggs. They was out. It was cold. It was cold some nights, and I saw 2 cars in my mom community that try to get real close to the geese, and I would honk my horn, and I was like, damn girl, if they get out and say, bitch, what you talking about? Would you fight for it? But like, listen, y'all, don't be cruel to nature, because that's a living thing, and you will get your karma back.
Well, you know what? I mean, General McClellan at the time was one of my favorite fighters. But between hearing that and hearing some of the things that he did with the dogs and stuff, man, I don't want to say he deserved what happened to him, because I used to really like McClellan. He was a firecracker.
Hey.
But, he's still the person that he is. And if he did that shit, it's just like you said, that kind of shit comes back on you somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You
can't be doing that shit, because
I believe in karma. People think karma is some hippie bullshit. Nah, I believe it's real. If you do dastardly shit, it's going to come back on you at some point.
It is.
But nonetheless, I assume you watched the fight.
Yeah, I watched it.
Ryan.
Well, you know what, Jerry? I ordered it, and I broke my protocol, and I ordered that PBC fight. But I said I was. And I said that weeks before. And I said, I'm going to order this one, actually. And I ordered it the night before, because they suggested you order it early, because they might be experiencing some technical difficulties. So I ordered it Friday night. Wouldn't you know, come Saturday, man, the first 15 minutes I'm trying to get on. I'm hitting buttons on the cable. The damn thing said you already ordered it. I'm like, what the fuck? After I'm like an hour into the fight, it's still I can't see it. The fucking cable crashed. Then the internet crashed. I had to get up and go to my boy house just to catch the last fights. But I did see Ryan and Tank. I will say this, to me, was I know it was strategic. And as far as being the master, the sweet science, him mastering the sweet science, I would say I love that. But this is one of his most boring fights to me. I don't know how nobody else feel. Huh?
Who, Tank or
Ryan? Both of them. I know that Ryan tried to bring it, but Ryan got a little taste of some power that Tank probably hit him with. Because I know Ryan felt something, because Ryan started being real hesitant. You don't get that way unless you felt something. Because even that stomach shot didn't even look like it should have hurt as much as it did. But we talking Tank.
Yeah. Funny thing about this fight is, prior to the fight and even after the fight, I can't remember a fight that was so critically analyzed by people. People are just, maybe it's because there's a bigger format, and with YouTube channels, everybody can spout off. To me, it was what it was. Ryan got stopped. He got stopped with a body shot. This happened a million times in boxing. I've seen guys that couldn't even box as good as Tank stop guys with that same body shot. I mean, it happens in boxing. Did Ryan make mistakes? He did, but so did Tank. Tank makes mistakes in every fight he has.
Yes, he did.
He's not a master boxer, contrary to what people say. If you want to see a master boxer, look no further than that very same division and look at Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. Those are guys that work solidly behind a jab. They throw punches and combinations. They utilize defense with offense. They move laterally. Tank don't do much of any of that. He's not built for boxing. He's too short. His arms are too short. He's a puncher. But his brilliance is he knows that. He knows that about himself. So people say he makes slow starts, but it's not that he's making a slow start. What I can see is just when you don't have a long jab to stick out there and penetrate your opponent with all might, like say Haney does, and you don't punch really in combinations the way Stevenson does, no, you're not going to go out there and do that. You're going to stay in your lane, set traps, which he's brilliant at doing that, and you're going to wait for chances to unleash that cannon. And that's just what he's good at, and he knows it, and that's what he does. He ain't outboxing anybody. In fact, even in this fight with Ryan, when they were strictly boxing, Ryan was winning. He was landing the jab, at least some, and he was landing some right hands. One unfortunate thing for Ryan is the left hook against a southpaw is not. You're not going to land that punch too often. And Tank was brilliant in nullifying it, but still, just the fact that he's a southpaw means you're not going to land at the straight right. That's the punch, but that's not Ryan's money punch. He can punch with his right hand, but his money punch is that hook, and you can see he didn't even throw it that much in the fight. He didn't even try to throw it that much because the positioning of the body doesn't a lot for that hook. It's got to reach a lot more. But also, Ryan had everything going against him in this fight, and that was exposed in the negotiation. But, the biggest thing that he had going against him was you're fighting on a PBC promotion, and you're fighting their top earner. So you're fighting on their promotion, and you're fighting their top guy. So when you do that, you got to go out there and win that fight. You gotta try to go out there and get a stoppage. And that's what Ryan looked to me like he was doing. He was forcing the fight. He was the guy coming forward most of the time, even to his own detriment, because he knew if I'm going to win this fight, I got to go and get it. And so I applaud him for that. When you're pressing, that's when you're going to be most vulnerable. No further than Devin Haney when he fought Linares. He had won every round of that fight. But in the 11th round, he started pressing. He started doing more than what he should. And that's when he got his eyes crossed with that hook from Linares because of when he was pressing. So I think people are critically analyzing something that really doesn't need to be critically analyzed. Tank finishes almost all of his opponents in the second half of the fight. That was the betting favorite odds that would happen in this fight, and it's what happened. But I think Ryan fought pretty well considering. Yeah, he called Tanks with something in the second round that buzzed him a little bit. I didn't really see what, but Tank was holding on. He was desperately lunging in to hold. Something got to him a little bit.
Tank get uncomfortable, really Jerry. If you make Tank uncomfortable, he's not used to that.
Yeah, and he was putting a little heat on him, and he was trying to press his advantage, which was the smart thing. He sensed that something got the Tank a little bit, and he was trying to press his advantage, but Tank unleashed that lightning bolt left hand, hit Ryan right in the mouth, and that was a full-on power shot. The last guy that Tank hit with that shot, he claimed that it made him blind. And we know what Tank's power is. And Ryan got right up from that shot. And he even had his legs. He wasn't stumbling around or nothing. So that should put to rest any of this talk about bad chin. Because there ain't too many fighters in boxing that want to take a full-on power shot from Tank Davis and get up at all, much less get up and have their legs. That tells me Ryan's chin is not an issue.
Well, you know what it tells me, Jerry?
Like you said, that really didn't look as hard, probably wasn't as hard. But guess what? The body is more vulnerable, right?
But you know what, Jerry? I agree with everything you said. And I'm going to add something to it. I think Ryan was very conditioned. I think he really believed that he could win. I really think he believed that. And if his strategy was to just throw barrages of punches at Tank and take it to his ass, ain't nothing wrong with that strategy. But you can't be.
You can't. The right strategy. You can't take that fight to that guy.
Yeah.
You ain't going to dance around on the outside. Like, let's say Ryan came out and tried to throw out a weak jab and keep Tank at bay, and he just kept moving around and moving around. He wasn't going to win like that. No way. He wasn't going to win a decision doing that. And Tank probably would have caught up to him later anyway. their promotion, you got to go out there and try to win. You got to try to make it clear that, you know, and get a stoppage most likely, or else you're not going to win.
Well, Tank ain't gonna
way down.
Check it out. Tank won't gonna respect him if he do a jab and did traditional boxing, because Tank wants to see. I think all Tank want to find out in the beginning is how much power you got and how you strategically coming at him, because he is one of the best setting trap people, even better than Crawford to me, in all of boxing. In all of boxing, and that's what I give Tank. But to call Tank a legend, see, I was very critical of what they tried, the echo chamber try to put out, because you know I'm all about don't put the cart before the horse. You can't call him a legend. Ryan wasn't a legend. And if you're gonna call somebody a legend based on who they beat, then you need to beat a legend. But anytime also that you can stand up there and say, oh, there's still people in the division you got to clear out. You can't be no legend. And legends in boxing is going to come later in your career, not in somewhat beginning. You still in your 20s. I mean, if you think about Floyd when he was Pretty Boy, and he fought Diego, Manfredi, and all them other guys, Floyd is almost like one could make an argument that Bob was feeding him to the wolves. But Floyd was being victorious. Then he went to Money May, being victorious. But it won't until he got in the latter part of his career, like the last 5 years, that you start saying stuff like legend. You got to be the legend to be a legend. Captain a cash cow, I'm going to go ahead and take what they said, Jared. They said that it was 1 million pay-per-view buys. I'm not arguing, because we'll never know unless they want us to know. But I believed it. And know why I believed it? Because I can tell you my own cable crashed and it never recovered. So whenever there's a fight and shit like that happens, you could best believe that's a big pay-per-view following. Now, like I said, cash cow, maybe a couple of more pay-per-views to see. Because is it Tank's pay-per-view following, or is it Ryan? Because without Ryan, would Tank get anywhere near 1 million? If you go about what has already happened, no. The answer is no. But with Ryan, both of them got 1 million. With Ryan, could he get anywhere near 1 million by himself? No. But with Tank, you know.
Right. Well, that's it, of course. It's always a big pay-per-views is always the two fight. It's the matchup. It's not so much one fighter. Tank Davis has had 4 other pay-per-views. I don't think he's ever did more than 200,000.
He may break 100,000.
When he fights, like let's say he fights Pitbull in his next fight in a rematch, that's not going to do nearly the numbers that this fight did. Not nearly.
You know that's the fight that they call it for. Calvin, that's the fight that Calvin is calling for, the Pitbull fight. Although I want to see it. Makes more sense to fight Devin Haney, though.
Well, I'd love to see the Cruz fight. That first fight was close, and let's face it, that little son bitch went the distance. He's one guy, the only guy, or I think Tank, one other guy early on, maybe in a quarter or 600, but he's the only guy that's been able to go the distance and be competitive. So, I would certainly be for that fight. But, you know, with this face of boxing thing, you got to understand that's marketing. The term that they've been using to market Tank has been he's a pay-per-view fighter, but that term's antiquated. That even people don't even like hearing pay-per-view anymore. They don't even like hearing that. So somebody in his camp is smart enough to know, let's ditch that old antiquated term and try to brag about that, because really outside of this pay-per-view, he hasn't been a pay-per-view fighter in the way that they've been selling. He's been fighting on pay-per-view, but it's not like he's really doing any big numbers. So face of boxing, that sounds a lot better. The new face of boxing, that's a good marketing strategy, and I like it. And now he's got this big selling pay-per-view, to back it up a little bit. And let's face it, in my estimation, he's still behind Canelo because Canelo averages 500,000 pay-per-view no matter who he fights. And if it's the right matchup, like with Golovkin, he can do better, like 800,000 or 1 million plus. But on average, he averages 500,000. Even this one coming up will likely do at least 500,000. So if we're going to talk about who the real face of boxing is, in my estimation, anyway, it's who's got the most faces on him, and that's still Canelo Alvarez here in the United States. But if Tank is number 2, and he's a fighter below 147, because remember, there ain't never been, the biggest star in boxing has never been anyone below 147. So if Tank is number 2, second only to Canelo, man, there ain't nothing wrong with being that. I mean, that's still high accolades when you're a fighter below welterweight, because that's never really happened before. There's been very few big stars below welterweight. And so, and then plus Canelo, and let's face it, I don't know how long he's going to fight, but competitively speaking, he may only have a year or 2 left. He's had a whole lot of fights, and fighters don't stay great forever, right? We know that. So he's kind of on the way out. But what I want to see from Tank is, I don't mind the Cruz rematch because of the first fight, but then, he's got to fight some of that talent that's there. There's just way too much talent there.
Well, he got to jump on Haney.
He was the most popular guy. So you got the most popular guy out the way. You got the payday. Now it's time to get to the best guys. Haney, Stevenson, Frank Martin, the Cuban guy.
Look, only for real, Jerry. In order for me to really start giving Tank some titles, he got to get Shakur out the way. But I'm all about fairness. Shakur, you just can't walk in the division and have it your way. You're gonna have to fight a couple of people. Okay, you fought one person, fight, work your way up like anybody else would. But Haney for sure. That should be his first one on the agenda, and then after that, then he should fight what's his name, Pitbull Cruz. Because why? Because Tank seemed like he really wants to be a legend. Well, I mean, you're gonna have to scrap. You're gonna have to get these belts. You're gonna have to become legend. You just gonna have to, in my opinion. Nobody remembers everybody who made the most money. Like I said, Mike Tyson, we don't talk about Mike Tyson and fondness memory about what his pay-per-view numbers were or how much he used to get paid. We talk about how he performed in that ring, and that's why he was the master. So that's what these fighters got to realize. You gonna have to win some accolades, get some awards, and fight the best fighters, or the ones that got the award. Like Devin Haney to me isn't the best fighter at 135, but he is because he is undisputed by default, right? So Tank, you need to fight him and then go back and revisit Isaac Cruz or something. I would love to see the Isaac Cruz fight. And guess what? That fight, that rematch will make money. That's why they like it. That one will do better numbers than probably him and Devin Haney fight. Shakur, in my opinion, beats all of them. All of them. If he could take Tank's punch. If he can't take Tank's punch, then belay my last. But if he could last through Tank's punch or make it so that Tank never hit him, I think Shakur is the better overall complete fighter in the 135 division. What can he do? There's so many mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes because we ain't perfect. But there's so many mistakes that I do see Devin Haney make. I never see Shakur make. I just think Shakur the best. But Tank is in there because he can box. He is quick. And he got that equalizer. So all in all, that's all I wanted to say. Jerry, ain't much in boxing to be talking about. I'm just getting back. I don't know if people probably think I was permanently gone or whatever. They got to figure out that I'm back. And like if it's nothing to talk about, Jerry, I just don't come on. Like if it ain't nothing to talk about. I'm in the process of moving back to the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I gotta get out this country ass shit.
Maryland?
Back to Virginia.
You live in Maryland?
I used to live in Virginia.
Oh, Virginia, right.
Yeah, going back to Virginia.
Yeah, well, that's all I had to say. I enjoyed the fight. I was going to order it on Dazzle because it was cheaper, but I just went ahead and ordered it on Showtime because I really thought Ward and Bradley were going to be commentating. It wound up being, what's his name, a little black fighter, ex-fighter.
Abner Mares.
It was that group. Yeah, Mares, and it was okay, but I like it better when it's Ward and Bradley.
Wait a minute, how much cheaper?
Because to be honest with you, I've had problems ordering pay-per-view with Dazzle before.
Well, how much was they charging?
They're over there, or what it is, but they have technical glitches all the time. Even when
they do.
Order fights on there, there's times where it just blacks out. It just goes to a black screen and it says having issues.
Yeah.
Their audio cuts out. I don't know.
How much was it on the Zone? How much was it? You said it was cheaper.
It was I think it was like $90 on Showtime and $60 on Dazzle. Yeah, it was
I had to go on the Showtime app, and I would tell y'all that the app did not make me sign up for membership. If that's the worry that people worried about, the app didn't make me sign up for membership, so I can't go on Showtime app at will and just look at shit. But I believe in going into the future, because all that shit that I said about Showtime and everything, I still believe it. But you never know. I always said this too. Al Heyman could come through like a thief in the night and get a reprieve and get everything back up and running. But it looks like that the boxing is going to be moving to Showtime app. You can put that on your phone and you can order fights through it. It'll be charged through your Apple ID. So I don't know like how you guys are billed or whatever.
Well,
what's up?
All you got to do is look at it. Showtime and the PBC been blowing everybody away. They've been putting on the most cards and the best cards. Plant Benavides, this fight this past weekend, and they done had 3-4 cards in the last 8 or 9 weeks that were good fight cards. That's more than Top Rank, and it's damn sure more than Tazzy.
But Jerry,
and Al Heyman and the BBC, that's to recognize.
But
they're putting on more fights than anybody.
But Jerry, there's a reason. But listen, Jerry, there's got to be a reason though. They fighting for their life, for their position, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Put your best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? Put your best foot forward. That's what you should do all the time. And that's what PBC doing. So we ain't mad at PBC. You should do this all the time. You know how, Jerry, when you was young and your parents dropped you off at your auntie house or your uncle house or somebody in the family, and they give you that warning, you better be on your best behavior. And then they be like, it's more about how you act when your parents ain't around versus when they're around, because that tells the true story of whether you truly get it, and you about your principles and you be on your best behavior. That's how I look at PBC. You doing this shit now, you should have been doing that, and you should have kept doing that. You'd have never had nobody mad at you.
The first 5 years that they were doing what they're doing now, and even more. They were the toast of boxing, Al Heyman. They was making all the fights, and the fighters was getting paid well and everything. But let's be honest, Showtime as a network took a major hit. People don't subscribe to buy movies from channels like Showtime and HBO. They get them through Zulu and different outlets. That whole format has changed, and both networks, HBO got clear out of boxing. clear
Yeah.
out of it, and they were the biggest thing going in boxing.
But Jerry, if they'd have handled their business right, you know that. If they'd have handled their business right, there wouldn't have been no need for that. Whatever the business, like you said, the business model
went clear out of boxing, which they're a bigger network than Showtime, and they had a bigger budget and everything, and they just seen the writing on the wall, and so they got clear out. Showtime stayed in, but their network took a big hit, and when the network take a big hit like that, they're going to tighten up the budget strings, which they did. And boxing was the first place they did it. And what they did is they upped the original programming. Because back in the day, Showtime and HBO didn't have original program. They do a documentary here or there, but it was all movies. That was the first place the movies would land, and you could get it for your subscription. But nowadays, there's so many other places to get it where you don't have to subscribe. You can just buy that movie for that night, and you don't have to pay $20, $25 a month for the subscription. So their format took a big hit. They tightened the purse strings. Boxing was the first place they did it. HBO got clear out. Showtime stayed in, but that made it tough on Al Heyman because that was his main supplier, right? So it could have been Bob. It could have been any promoter that this dynamic fell onto. But since Heyman was doing business with Showtime, and so it was a rough period there. But it seems to me like it's way too soon to bury them.
It might be, Jerry.
For us boxing fans, because one less provider means one less more fights for all of us.
But here's the thing, Jerry. They got it. They got it. They know what they're gonna do. They're gonna do that app. Everybody's going to wear the app, but you got to keep up and adapt. You have to keep up and adapt with changing times. But you should never, ever adopt a model that you know is fucked up. And Showtime was doing some fucked up, lying ass shit that was so egregious to a lot of fans. They shouldn't have never just got aired on that side. Never, never, never. If you saw something that worked, stay with what works. You know what I'm saying? Stay with what works. Let that shit fizzle out. But if it worked, it worked. Yeah, you need to adapt and all that stuff. But how is marinating fights for fucking ever? I need to calm down because that shit be pissing me the hell off. How is that helping? You can leave your house today and get hit by a bus, but they want to marinate a goddamn fight. No, hell no.
See, that's more the promoters, though. That's more the promoters than it is the network. And this is how I can tell you. When I've seen HBO, when they left boxing, I tuned in that night to watch a card, and they just hit it out of the blue, man. It was like Lamley said in the beginning. He said, "This is our last telecast." I was totally blown away by that. Nobody seen that coming. It blew me out of the water. But then he talked about why HBO was getting out of boxing, and this is HBO had the top sports executives working there at the time. Those guys know what they're doing. And he said that he partly blamed Al Heyman. He said Al Heyman signed up all the fighters, and he refuses to work with the other promoters.
Exactly.
We can't bring you the quality fights.
Exactly.
It's not just Al Heyman that does that. Let's be honest. Bob Arum does that too. So does Hearn and Alvin De La Hoya. But what HBO was in the business of putting on quality fights. And even if they aired a fight that wasn't a quality matchup, they call the promoter out. They tell you, this is not what we want to bring you, but this is what the promoters are providing. So HBO, they seen the writing on the wall. They seen that instead of getting quality matchups, anything that was even close to a marquee fight was going to be on pay-per-view. So then you get Keith Thurman fighting Barrios and it's on pay-per-view, both of them coming off a loss. You get Deontay Wilder fighting his sparring partner, coming off a loss.
But here's the thing, Jerry. Here's the thing.
HBO's seen that.
Here's the thing, Jerry. I don't know who was the network representative at HBO. I can't remember that far back. But Steven Espinoza is the one over there at Showtime. And him and Al Heyman is tighter than pantyhose is 2 times small. Steven rep Al rep Steven. They do with each other once. They both follow each other's blueprints. And that's the problem, because one of them should have said, like you said, those big time execs who knew what they was doing at HBO. Yo, wait a minute, training time out. This is not going to work for us. Blah, blah, blah. Somebody got to be the adult in the room. And I'm sorry, if you listen to Al Heyman and the way he wanted to do it, that wasn't a winning strategy. Steven went along with it. It wasn't a winning strategy. So at the end of the day, yes, all promoters do it. Jared, you're right. Everybody does it. In the end of the day, I hope they learn that lesson, because we cannot let boxing as a sport go away to the wayside. And I don't know how they're going to fix it. It ain't nothing that the average boxing fan can do, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully they get their shit together and stop shitting on people who want to come out. Like, what was the need to shit on BLK Prime? Why? If they show a fight, then hell, without all that paperwork and barriers and shit, then as a boxing fan, what else can you play? That's how I'm looking at it. I don't give a fuck who their promoters are. But
Leonard Ellerby said, I've seen Ellerby in an interview a couple years ago when they were grilling him about Tank and who Tank should fight and this and that. And Ellerby broke it down, and essentially what he said was, in the entire United States, out of 330 million people, roughly speaking, there's 350 to 400,000 fans of boxing that are going to pay $80 for a pay-per-view fight. Now, it can be more than that when casuals get involved, of course, just like this weekend's fight, or even when Canelo fights, because he's got, Mexico, he's got a lot of fans in Mexico and Mexican Americans, and even casual fans will buy his fights sometimes. But on average, this is why Bud Crawford and Tank up to this point and anybody else can't get past 200,000 fights. It's not only who they're fighting, of course that plays into it. It's just boxing is not popular anymore in the United States. Just flat out not a popular sport like nothing like it once was, even in the 90s. But if you go back each decade, it was more and more and more popular. But football has grown exponentially. Baseball, all the other major sports, of course the UFC, and a lot of people that might have been boxing fans, they find that UFC shit a lot more exciting. They just do. And I can see why they do, because it's a more brutal, I guess, but boxing's just not that popular, and that really makes it tough on a promoter, because now, let's say you want to make Haney and Tank, but Haney's going to want a reasonable paycheck to take a fight like that, and of course Tank's going to also. But unlike this marquee matchup with Garcia, that fight, they won't project it to do nowhere close to what this one does.
I know, right?
It probably won't. Even though it's a better quality matchup, but it's not going to really get the interest of the casual fan. Probably looking at maybe 350,000 pay-per-views, and then now, if you're the promoter, to satisfy the fighters' purses, you have to really take a gamble. Right?
But hold on, Jerry. Hold on, Jerry. We kind of over time. But and I know I'm putting myself back on the time limit until we grow back up, because we're missing a lot of people. And what you said was right. Everything's right. But Jared, I only got one thing to say, and then I'm gonna let you close it out. Give your closing remarks. You say all that, but what just happened? According to them, they broke 1 million pay-per-views. Why? Because they put a fight on that people wanted to see. When you deviate from that, of course, everything can be fucked. If you go back to putting fights together that people want to see, start there and then work your way up. I'm sorry for interrupting, Jerry. You got the last word. Close it on out.
Plant and Benavidez was a fight that people wanted to see. But guess what? It didn't sell nothing even partially close to what this one did. You see, there's several fights that I could mention where, people wanted to see it, but what people? You're talking about hardcore boxing fans, but when you're talking about a big pay-per-view, that's going to come 50% plus from casuals. That's what makes it big, because people that wouldn't ordinarily buy are going to buy it. And that's what this fight was. It was a marquee matchup. Brian Garcia had not proven to be the best fighter in the division, but he was the best guy to get a big payday with, and he played his part well to promote it and talk shit, and he's got those matinee good looks, and the whole recipe adds up to a big event. But a more quality matchup is him and Haney, and boxing fans know this, but it wouldn't sell nearly as well, nor would the Stevenson fight. It wouldn't sell nearly as well. So again, those type of fights that the hardcore fans clamor for are a lot more difficult to make because there's not enough money to go around. You want to satisfy the fighters' purses, and if the network is only putting in a partial, which is kind of what Showtime has always done, even HBO, 9 times out of 10, what they buy the fight from the promoter for is not what the promoter's paying. He's either got to come out of his own pocket to satisfy the rest of the purses, or they scramble for endorsements and different ways to make that up so then they can get to their profit. Because it doesn't just happen where the network says, all right, we're paying for the fight full on and out. That's never been the case. They'll buy a fight, and they got budget to buy fights, but they rarely ever pay for the fight in its entirety. So the onus is on the promoter at that point. And I'm not trying to give an excuse for Al Heyman no more than I would Bob Arum. It's just that the economics of it are real tough, especially since COVID, but even prior to that, since Mayweather left and Pacquiao, there is no pay-per-view cash cows really, and there is no big pot of fans and marquee matchups to be made. And so it makes these other fights a lot tougher to get to. But I'm still happy that PBC is doing what they're doing. As far as I can see, they're putting on the best and most cards out of anybody. Hopefully they can get that Crawford fight and Spence fight done, and I do believe that they're behind the scenes negotiating that for midsummer or somewhere close to that, because you ain't heard nothing. I think this time they're doing it right. No one's negotiating in the media. They're just in the room hashing it out right now, and you ain't hearing nothing, and that's good. So I wouldn't be surprised, even though there's been a lot of fake news about it, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of weeks we hear that fight gets done. And hopefully, but again, look at that right there as a perfect example. That's a far more quality matchup than this one last weekend, but it probably won't sell as much.
Well, see, I think it will. I saw the promoters doing their job promoting. I saw a lot of promoting going on from the fighters and the promoter. Everybody on board was making sure this fight was the prima donna, So on that note, Jared, look, I would say, thanks for coming through. I'm going to have to get this phone situated thing because unless I'm holding it by the mic, ain't nobody going to hear you. So thank y'all for, listening. I know some of y'all going to listen after the fact. I am back, but like I said, if it ain't nothing to talk about, I ain't gonna bother y'all. We still got basketball going on and everything. The NBA, I think the finals go down in June, so we still got 2 months of that. But y'all do support whatever boxing thing you want to. Don't support bullshit. That's my suggestion. But do what you want to do. Me personally, I'm back on my protocol. Good talking to you, Jerry. I'm back on my protocol, y'all. I'm not buying no more PBC fights. So.
All right, now we'll take care.
All right, Jerry. Peace out. Yeah, so I'm not buying no more PBC fights. I just, I couldn't resist with Gervonta. And like I said, I am a fan, but I'm also honest. I don't put no cart before the horse. Gervonta, I feel like you earned the title of cash cow. And it remains to be seen if you're a pay-per-view star. Because in order for it's like you have several pay-per-views and only one broke 1 million. So let's see how you do going forward before we give you that moniker. Legend, no, I've already explained to y'all backwards and forwards. Stop saying that. Stop. I can only ask. Stop saying that. Stop putting that out there. Javante, humble yourself. Understand that 28 is impossible for you to be a legend. You ain't been in the career long enough. And you can't beat a non-elite fighter, and that is the fight that makes you a legend. When Floyd beat what's his name? De La Hoya. De La Hoya was well on his way to becoming legendary. He wasn't a legend, but he was on his way. And Floyd had been on his way for a while. So you mix those two guys together, one of them could come out legendary. Because look who they were. Look at their resume. But you can't beat Ryan or somebody who's nowhere near elite and then come out a legend. Like, you would have had to be a legend before you fought him, and you wasn't. So you can't be after you fought him. But congratulations to both of them. Like I said, Ryan, I got newfound respect for you a little bit because you didn't back out and you ain't pull one of your hocus pocus numbers, and you really did believe you could win, but you just got caught up. So that's all I have for y'all. Hopefully we'll have something to talk about tomorrow. Anywho, when you know better, you do better. In the words of Pamela James, peace.